Hey folks, I'm John P. Today I'm going to give you an overview of our welding tables. So if you were looking for epic fail videos or something, you're in the wrong place. First, I want to give you a general overview so we can talk about the features and benefits of this type of welding table, and I'll point out some of the things that make our tables unique. I can't really do that unless I also talk about at least a few of our accessories to give you an idea of how this all comes together. So we'll go over that at the very end, but we're going to be releasing a whole series of videos on every single accessory we offer, so subscribe if you want to learn more about those as we roll them out. Now, a huge benefit to these tables is really their flexibility and expandability. So I'm going to show you the simplest example, but hopefully it'll kickstart your imagination so you can stop thinking about it as just a table and begin thinking about it like it's a component or a building block. Think Legos for adults. I know that most people have never actually used one of these types of fabrication tables. So if you're wondering about them, let me give you my take on them. I think there are three primary benefits to these hole-filled welding tables. First, they're extremely strong. These tables are designed with 3D engineering software to not just support a lot of weight, but do so without much deflection. All of our tables have either 6-inch or 8-inch sidewalls and a crisscrossing rib infrastructure based on a 10-inch grid. By the way, that means all of our tables come in 10-inch size increments. So like 50 inches by 100 inches instead of 4 foot by 8 foot. It gives you a few extra inches in most cases. But anyway, the strength is important to help maintain another important aspect of these tables, flatness. These tables are extremely flat. We have a very specific process we go through to make sure we get them as flat as possible, because after all, you can't build a project flatter than the surface you build it on. Our tables do meet aerospace and other manufacturing standards, and because of the massive support infrastructure, they have minimal deflection even under heavy loads. The thousands of holes we cut in the surface allow just a boatload of tools to be used to hold down and fix your projects to the table while they're being assembled and welded. If you got a bunch of questions already running through your head, let me just knock some of those frequently asked ones out of the way. Our standard tables range from the smallest at 30 inches by 40 inches up to a whopping 70 by 140. In fact, we're one of the only manufacturers to build tables that are a full 5 foot by 10 foot or larger, simply because we have massive lasers that can handle the larger materials to cut those sizes. We're going to talk about this a little more later. Don't get stuck on the size of an individual table, because since they all have sidewalls covered in holes, the tables can be bolted together or extensions can be added to the sides, and basically they're just very modular. Sometimes people are concerned with the thickness of the materials used. So first, let me say that thickness does matter, but so does the actual material. We're building our tables out of premium US-made A572 grade 50 steel. It's way tougher than the softer A36 grade you typically see, and there's no comparison with cheap import materials. But anyway, we use 1/4-inch thick plate for all of the ribs and the sidewalls, and that's also the standard thickness on most of the table tops. But you can upgrade to 3/8 inch or 1/2 inch if you want. My personal take on it is that 1/4-inch tops are perfect for like 90% of applications. The reason you might want to upgrade the thickness would be if you expect really harsh treatment. Like you're going to potentially be dropping really heavy things on it, or it's going to be in a rough environment. Or of course, you just want to. I mean, there's nothing wrong with upgrading a badass table just because you want to. I think the most frequently asked question is how long it takes us to ship orders. We generally ask that you give us like 2 to 3 weeks, because we're building tables as fast as we can. We try and keep sizes in stock, but there are like 60 variants. Plus, sometimes we get large orders that swamp us. So we can't keep everything all the time. But if we happen to have a top in stock when you order it, we might pleasantly surprise you with a really fast delivery. But again, let's plan on 2 to 3 weeks. Prices, or more importantly, sales. We don't do them. It's a philosophical thing. We truly hate it when we want to buy something and you don't know if it's going to be a good time or if it's going to go on sale soon or whatever. So we're not going to do that to you. It's the same price for everyone all the time, and we just try and have the best pricing we can afford every day. This also helps protect resale value in those rare cases where we see our tables for sale on the used market. Most of the time we see tables selling for as much as we know people purchase them for, because over time prices always just go up. I don't think many people actually ever give up their tables, but hey, if you get lucky, these things will last pretty much forever, so if they're cared for, you might want to pick one up. I think those are the top questions, so let me go over some of the actual table details now. When we take a look at the tables, you'll see several unique features that we've added over the years. I think we're on our 6th generation. One thing you'll spot on the sides of these are little slots. We call them super slots, and we have a bunch of accessories that can be used for storage and organization. So you might have some of our wall panels or even panels that go on the end of the table, and you can grab a bin and move it over to the side of the table while you're working. Then put it back where it goes when you're done. We also have a line of hanging drawer units you can add. But if you look at how we add them, it's unique. We actually cut holes in all of the ribs, and we make these special two-sided pins that thread through the holes. This allows us to slide the drawer units up and just hook them. And there's an extra hole in the back where you can put a bolt so they can't be removed once they're in. Of course, you can use those holes for hanging anything you can imagine from the table. We don't know what all people might come up with, but we're big on giving you lots of options since we're already laser cutting and it's easy to add a few more. You'll also notice we do this on the table legs. Since we laser cut all of our tubing, we add in a bunch of holes so you can attach things to the legs as well. We also use those holes too for adding accessories like the super slot panels or lower shelves. We offer the tables with casters or leveling feet, or both. Well, you can also just get the top if you want. Sometimes we have people who want to build their own base or need to mount the top somewhere special, like on an oil rig or something. Anyway, if you recall, when I said to think about the tables as being modular, here's an example of that. We've got a standard 40 by 80 table, and we've also got one of our modular table components that's like a mini 20 by 40 inch piece. And we've connected them with a couple of blocks to extend the table. And also it creates an opening where you could potentially reach through and do some hard to reach stuff. Now take this concept and expand it as much as you want. We have companies who purchased a bunch of tables and put them together to make a massive table. You can get 5 by 10 tables and put 10 of them side by side to make a 10-foot by 50-foot table. Or you could take several of the modular components, we call them mod blocks, and configure them specifically for building like a car chassis. The options are limited only by your imagination. Like I said, it's Legos for grown-ups. Hopefully I'm not boring you to tears, but let me just touch on one last little thing because I think for some people seeing a little example might be useful. So let's say you want to build a tubular frame. Here's an example of how I might do that. I've got some edge stops on the side of the table, and these can either be bolted or you can use these special little ball lock pins to speed up the attachment process. I drop some little magnetic rests on the table to elevate my work, then put a piece of tubing on them. I'd use sliding stops to secure the other side of the tubing, and then once everything's in place and not moving side to side, I'd put some clamps on top to hold it while I get to welding. We've got different kinds of clamps like these short long ones or these tall ones, and some have quick releases. It's really a personal preference in a lot of cases as to which one you want to use, though sometimes you do need a particular one. And if you're wondering why I elevated the tubing, well, if I need to do a vertical weld on one of the seams, it allows me to do the whole thing without welding into the table. Okay, I'm going to stop now. We could go on for hours, but let's save that for some other videos because I'm exhausted. So hit the old subscribe button if you want to learn more, and we'll keep producing new vids. Drop a comment if you have any questions or suggestions, and you can always give us a call or chat on the website at texasmetalworks.com. Thanks for watching. See you next time.